Your word is spoken, and I am broken.
Well, Rick was always looking for opportunities to give.
I really believe Rick's ministry is focused on giving. He was a giver, and he didn't give to get. He gave just because he genuinely wanted to help people.
If you know Rick Goad, it was never about him. It was always about you.
He definitely made me think about other people before myself, because he was the most unselfish man I've ever met.
I would call him to try to encourage him, and I'd say, "Hi Rick, how you doing?" And here was Rick's response every time: "Blessed by God, how are you doing?" And he would always end up encouraging me, I think, more than I encouraged him.
I see angels watching over me, asking Father, let's set his spirit free. They look to heaven to find what God had in store. He gave them buckets and they began to pour, and they cried, more, more, more of the oil. They cried, more. Send your mighty power to break the chains of darkness.
But for Rick's sake, he was so calm.
One of the statements that will always stay with me of how Rick handled this situation of being diagnosed with pancreatic cancer was, God is in control. You either believe that or you don't, and Rick chose to believe he was.
Leaving from that situation, getting in our cars, driving home, watching Rick, it was like he wasn't responding the way that I was responding. He was very strong and very peaceful. And when we got to our house, he just said, you know, we need to pray. We need to get our family here. Had some friends in town. He said, we're going to pray.
He talked about God letting this happen to him so that so much good could come from it.
Here's a person who was planning to live all the way down to the day he died.
Your word is spoken, and I am broken.
Rick was an outstanding father. It was his mission in life to make sure that he had time to spend with them. Even though as busy as he was with ministry and other things that he had going on in his life, he still found time to spend with them. And not every day did he actually physically feel like doing it or being there, but he was so determined to take them and to keep it that attitude of we're doing this together, and let's stop on the side of the road, let's look at the, you know, let's go look at this river, let's go find some fish. And it was always introducing them to new things and spending time with them, because that is the ultimate love for us as parents to do with our children is to spend time with them.
So my Father in heaven, I stand and worship you. You see, the enemy wants to make me doubt and fear, but it makes me all the more.
He saw the need and thought, you know, we can get these out to people. Let them hear it. People that are going through situations where they're facing a terrible disease, a life-threatening disease, where they're facing financial situations, emotional situations, anything, because everybody needs a miracle.
So it was almost a given, it was almost a natural process for Rick. Rick wasn't planning his funeral, he was planning his future.
We didn't set out to make this record for commercial acceptance, for radio or anything.
When I first heard the music, it was all about Rick, and it was all about Rick's healing, it was all about Rick's miracle. But then when I listened to the words over and over and over again, it dawned on me, these were words not just for Rick Goad, these were words for anybody that listened to them.
There was no hidden agenda, just an authentic desire to bring people closer to God, and there it is, witnessed in this music. And when you hear it, it just is the best worship you'll ever have.
I need thee, Lord.
on January 6th, when he passed away, that does something to your faith. That shakes your faith. But you know, when that day happened, you have to go back and say, now what do I do with the faith, this faith that I've had? And I think if Rick taught me anything, is to just not doubt, to still have the faith. You know, just as Job, if God slay me, I'm still going to trust him. And that is where Rick was. He would tell me, Jackie, it is ultimately God's decision. But if he doesn't do it, I'm not going to doubt him. I'm going to still believe him. I'm going to push to know him more. And that's what he did. We were talking about what our destiny together, what it was going to be. And a huge part of that was the Miracle CD, and that he wanted to give 1 million copies away.
And even from its inception, the first thing he was talking about was giving it away.
Well, I think when Rick first told me about his plan of giving away 1 million CDs, I thought, what are you talking about? But he just really believed that God birthed that in his heart, and he needed to do that.
Through his CDs and writings, The Miracle, we're going to get that in the hands of 1 million people. We're going to come alongside other missions agencies to take care of children and do leadership. And we're very excited because as long as I'm alive, as long as Jackie's alive, Rick's legacy and influence, it's going to be alive.
The idea behind the CD package, which I'm so excited about, is that you can purchase a CD, one CD, and you're going to get 10 free, 10 to give away. Because I know when people hear this CD, it's going to touch them. And from that, they can give that same message to someone else that they know that needs a miracle. Someone needs whatever it might be, healing, finances. But it's to give it out so that they can also be touched and know the promises of God to help them to get through whatever they're going through.
Now that Rick has passed and is no longer with us, and his wife Jackie has picked up that goal and that vision of Rick's, I want to do everything I can to help get that accomplished. And so Rick's life and his talent will live beyond his years.
You know, really, I'm just a woman who's lost her husband, but a woman that was left with a legacy, just like we're all going to be left with a legacy. And I'm determined to carry on that legacy for Rick. And I think it's just real simply said for our mission: love God, love people, leave a legacy. And that's what Rick was all about.
Hopes and dreams, I surrender.